Gabe.
And I'm Kat.
And we're the Ghouls Next Door. That's us. And we are talking about spooky stuff in the spoopiest of all the months. This is our special series.
Yes.
Which is
special classic horror series of the creepiest month or spoopiest month. October, we bring you the Queen of Horror herself, Miss Penny Dreadful, the badass goth babe, Mary Shelley.
Yep, that's us. That's what we're going to do. We're going to bring you the Queen of Fear. She's one of the starts of it all. She's pretty hardcore.
Women.
Yes. And we're going to tell you about her. We're going to tell you about her work and why she's so cool. Last week we brought you what would be the father of some, not goth, but just emo, probably.
Yeah.
Angst and opium.
Yeah, lots of that.
That's his MO. Which was Edgar Allan Poe, or Edgar Allan Poe, whatever you want to say. And
the silliest hoe of all.
So today's episode is about Mary Shelley, who, if you're unfamiliar with her, she's the one who created Frankenstein.
Yeah.
The book, not the monster. Frankenstein created the monster. And Ghouls is the name of the hosts, not the podcast. So that's unique. We're super smart.
I love you.
Actually, it's interchangeable. We're one and the same.
Yes.
Just like Frankenstein and his monster. It's okay to call him Frankenstein. We get it. And so if you're... yeah, so we're going to be talking about Frankenstein and the cool birth of that. And then also just like how cool Mary Shelley is.
She lived.
She lived
a life and was like super intense and cool and wrote a bunch of stuff and was a feminist badass lady.
Yes. You get a few like of the goth babes when you're in high school. You know, you get like Dickinson. She was a goth babe. Then you get someone like Sylvia Plath. So you just get these women who are like, we feel.
All the things.
We feel, and it's okay to feel.
Needs to know.
Yeah.
And it's also cool.
Yeah. And that we are allowed to exist in this place. So specifically Mary Shelley, she's like hanging out with some important people. One, her parents are pretty legit. And then she also has some interesting friends, like Lord Byron himself, who, wow, he is something. He's a whole thing.
He's a whole person.
To say that he's extra. He's the most extra of people.
Is he jutting?
He's jutting. And so we're gonna dive into Mary Shelley for this spooky month. We really wanted to give her some affection and some credit for all she did for the horror genre in our classic horror series. I hope you were enjoying it. So let us know.
Yeah.
Tweet at us.
Getting back to the basics, you know.
Yeah.
The
Starting from the beginning. Started from 1800s. Now we here.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah, facts. We tell you facts. All the facts. Yeah, facts. Stuff facts. About that spooky stuff. Yeah, spooky stuff.
Mary, do you love me? Are you writing Frankenstein? I don't know that song.
So you'll never ever leave from beside me.
Because I resurrected you.
Because you'll die eventually.
No.
Just like everyone. All right, here
Everyone
we go.
dies. Okay. So welcome back from our little blip that we had there.
Our little stuff and things.
Here's some questions you might have. Like, who is Mary Shelley?
Yeah.
And also, why is she so cool?
Tell me about it, babe.
You know, like, why is she the coolest queen goth babe that ever existed? And here's why. So
thank you. I was worried. I thought you weren't going to tell me.
I was just going to leave you in suspense,
all
and that's how I roll.
Please
That's
don't.
what this
That's
podcast is for.
Literally the opposite point of the podcast. We're supposed to tell them stuff. So
Nope, I just
say words.
Just leave you in suspense.
No.
And then you do the research. No, actually.
I did.
Yeah, no, not
Say
you,
things.
the listener.
Oh, okay.
So Mary Shelley was born cool. She was born cool in that she was born to two pretty dope parents. Well, her father started out pretty dope, and then he wasn't.
And he was like, I'm rude now. Sorry, bye.
Yeah, he was a big anarchist, but specifically, her mom was an awesome feminist. Her name is Mary Wollstonecraft. And she wrote...
Such a cool name. Oh my
Isn't
God.
it cool? And she wrote The Vindication of the Rights of Woman, which I have kind of read, which is sad as like a feminist. We should all read it more. But yeah, she was born to this like powerful woman who, you know, wanted women to have rights and to be able to talk and be equal and like be just as appreciated. And then she died before
During
Mary could even know.
Times.
Yeah. Before Mary could even know. So bad. And it's like, so Mary, and then she had, this is how badass her mom is. And that, so she died. And then the father had to take care of Mary and her stepsister, who was her mom's kid from someone she had an affair with. And her dad is taking care of both of them. Because she was like a boss bitch and was like, take care of my kids. And he's like, I guess. One of them isn't mine. She's like, I don't care. But then he,
you love that child like it's yours.
And then the story became Cinderella in that he got a new wife and she had her own stepchildren or her own children and they treated her like crap. And actually they sent her, like her other sister that was from her mom, away to school. And her stepmom was like, you don't need to get an education. And just like kind of expected her to do nothing. But then Mary would sneak off to the graveyard to have chats with her mom, who's in a grave because she's dead. And she's super weird. And she taught herself how to write her name by tracing the letters on her mom's headstone. Because they're both Mary.
That's dope as hell.
Right? She's like, you're not going to stop me.
It's like, you're not going to teach me to read? My mom will. And it's like, your mom's not alive. And it's like, I'll still show you.
I talk to her. I have seances. And I
All
just
the
lay in her
time.
grave. And there's this lovely rumor that, it's the loveliest of rumors, that Mary Shelley supposedly lost her virginity on her mother's grave. Which is probably just propaganda, but I will spread it for the sake of her.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's like pretty dope. I saw it on a Tumblr post. And
that means it's real.
I did see it on some other articles that each one of them was like, and this could be a thing. It sounds cool. It sounds rad. So
Yeah, let's just
sign
say
her
that's
up.
what happened.
Yeah.
She
So
can't tell us. It's been a really long time.
yeah, she did other stuff. Like, why not? The thing is, I can totally see her eventual husband, Percy Shelley, totally being down for that.
Yeah, fair.
She was
He
also
seems like a little bit of an eccentric individual.
yeah, and she was also like a child. She was like 16, so she was probably like angsty as hell.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, let's just
My
do
family's
it.
mean.
Yeah.
My mom understands. Let's go have sex on top of her grave. She'll be happy about it.
She would love that because of female empowerment in some way,
Maybe.
I guess, because she's in charge of her own body. Whatever. We're gonna.
I think
go
it's
with it.
weird, but it's probably cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty hardcore. It's pretty metal, to say the least. And then furthermore, to really dive into her metal / goth queendom, in that she eventually, when her husband Percy died, she took his heart, which had been calcified, and she made it into a necklace, and she wore it for the rest of her life.
That's not super gross at all. That's
No.
romantic.
It's something.
It's
Back then,
something.
people were a whole thing. People were like crazy weird. Like her and Percy.
Everyone gave Angelina Jolie so much crap.
Yeah.
With the vial of blood or whatever that
Yeah.
she wore. She had the real heart. Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Just hanging out there around her neck.
Oh, maybe she was like channeling her. But like, so Mary actually wrote Frankenstein when she was just 18. And she had already been eloped with the already married Percy Shelley at just 16. So
Yeah.
she doesn't, there are no rules that she plays by.
Yeah, she was just like, marriage, lies,
She's got this like flamboyant
sex,
personality.
Who cares? Let's do that on top of mom.
Yeah. Or just like, just
Writing,
whatever.
I got that.
Yeah. That
Let's
wasn't even
go.
her thing. Like
Yeah.
when she was writing, she was just
let's
like,
write a ghost story. And she's like, well, I have one for you. Let's go.
yeah, everyone
whole
was
thing.
writing it. And she took a minute, like even people who wrote really bad stories. There's like one guy who wrote this terrible story about like a skull-faced woman.
Mm-hmm.
And she like later writes about how like more or less passively, but is like, that was crap. And, but he wrote it and everyone was writing before him or before her. And then she had some dope dreams, which we'll talk about. And then it came to be, but she was like 18 and she's just hanging out with this like weird artsy crew of like people who are more or less having sex with each other in like the middle of like a cabin with, and there's terrible weather because it's like raining, and so they can't do outdoorsy things, so they're just like, we're just gonna stay inside and write stories, tell each other ghost stories, and then just like have lots of sex.
Yeah.
And like, who's
Who's the
wanted
dad?
that?
No one knows, so no kids get eaten. It's great.
Yeah. Yes. Also, like, your kid probably might not live, so
Yeah, it's that time.
you don't even have to worry.
Yeah.
Everyone looked the same. It's fine. One little thing I found, there literally was really just like one line, and I didn't really care to elaborate because again, I just like think she's dope. And it was that in 1827, Mary helped two female friends to escape to France disguised as a married couple.
So,
That's
like,
it.
She like Mulan'd it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they can go to France.
Cool.
Escape. Yeah.
That's very nice.
So that's what's like a bit what's
She was
up
just
with
doing like
Mary.
a lot of stuff. She's
Yeah.
just like all over. She's doing stuff.
Yeah. What is furthermore what's up with her?
Well, she just had a really rough life, but like
Yeah.
in the best way, because I feel like it really gave her all that unique kind of perspective that trauma generally does give. Like she, lost her mom like 8 months after she was born? 1 month after she was born? 1 month after she was born. She didn't even get to know her like mom.
Yeah. Any months you didn't know your mom?
No, I know, but I think it was like really early. Like it was to the point where like she didn't even get to like bond with her mom through like all that stuff because she was sick and then like died very soon after
It's sad.
her being born. And there was this whole thing around like breastfeeding that was mentioned on the internets.
Got
And
it.
essentially like she never got to do that and like never got to like have that
Have a connection.
connection with her mom because like she was immediately taken from her
Mm-hmm.
because her mom was sick. But then like also just had very unlucky happenings with childbearing
Yeah.
and all that other really fun stuff that you just had to do back then.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, as we said, Mary Shelley wrote things. That was the whole thing. That was the whole exciting
That
part.
was her thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the sitch with Frankenstein?
What is it?
Well, essentially,
Yeah.
it was written as like a short story that was told at this ghost party. La-da-da.
We love this.
Ghost sex party, and then everyone...
God, even better.
Is it better now?
I wish I was there.
You just want to go around having ghost sex parties. Good to know.
Yeah.
I feel
Birthday's
like I'm not
coming
going to
up.
be there. I'll be there for the ghost part, but I'll be like, there's a lot happening here.
I don't think they all had sex in the
This
same
is
room.
stressful.
It was like a swingers thing. They put their chariot keys in the bowl and
Yeah.
and then I don't know.
That
I don't know
sounds-
how
that
swinger
sounds
parties
still
go.
very stressful. I mean, I know. Yeah, no, we don't know. We haven't been there. But like, she told her story, and it was really, really good. And they're like, "Whoa, you wrote a thing that's like really good."
Yeah.
Women, what? You did that?
Yeah.
Crazy. So then
Lord Byron is like, my lord, me. Women are for more than just having sex and toying with their emotions through beautiful prose and poetry.
yes,
That's him.
that yeah. So yeah, no, they acknowledged that, and I think it was her husband actually who
Yeah.
helped like push her to like really put it out there. But it was published anonymously in 1818. And it wasn't until like years later in 1823 that she was actually like, I'm associated with this. Hey, no, I wrote that.
Yeah.
I did. It wasn't ghosts. I did it.
Yeah.
Raising my hand in the back.
And I think it's like and it might not be, but I think it has to do with her being a woman, in that it wouldn't have sold if people knew she did it. It's like, and that's a thing that still exists, like with female writers, that a lot of the times, like when you see something like, I hate to say her name, but J.K. Rowling, she's J.K. like, because then you can't determine whether or not she's male or female, so people would be more inclined to read her. And that happens all the time, sadly.
Because they're like, women only write about love. And it's like, no, actually, we write about murder and Frankenstein and things coming back to life. And it's scary.
And the vindication of women.
But I mean, very honestly, she has so many names.
Yeah.
Like, her whole name is Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin Shelley.
Yeah.
So, like, her first name could have been Wollstonecraft, and she could just put that on. Like, no one would have known that's
after my own heart.
Yeah, she had like 8 million names.
She's named after her mom and then put her last name there.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah, no, I think that's dope. And then she also just added Shelley. Like, she didn't get rid of those other ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's
she was like, this is how many names you think I can have? Wrong.
Society?
All these names.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But,
I also just love how supportive Percy was. Like, because she just, I mean, so the whole story is that, like I alluded earlier, that there was a stormy night and they were telling ghost stories, and Lord Byron, in his extra flamboyant way, was like, everyone write a ghost story. Entertain me, masses. And so a bunch of poets made them really quickly because they're like, whatever. One guy made a skull lady, and then it's supposedly really bad. And then, Byron had his. There's also, from there came the story Vampire with a Y, or vampire, which is said to have inspired Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. So again, all like a birthplace of horror tropes and traditions started here. But just like of hedonism, and like
the devil has written.
So Mary actually didn't have an idea for a while, and everyone was writing them, and she was kind of feeling some type of way, and she had overheard, legend has it that she overheard Lord Byron talking about the studies of Darwinism, or Darwinism, yes. Just about what Darwin was up to, and it sounded really spooky.
Playing with the canary.
Yeah, and then and then she also had a nightmare.
Yes.
In which she said,
I saw the pale student of unhallowed arts kneeling beside the thing he had put together. I saw the hideous phantom of a man stretched out, and then, on the working of some powerful engine, show signs of life. He sleeps, but he is awakened. He opens his eyes. Behold, the horrid thing stands at his bedside, opening his curtains and looking at him with yellow, watery, but speculative eyes.
Yeah, that's her dream. She had a real spooky dream.
Yeah.
And she woke up and she wrote it down quick.
Did I read it good?
You did.
Thanks.
A+, you read it with words.
Oh, babe.
You
it's
read
really
them.
hard for me to read things out loud.
You did a really good job. I would pick on you in class and be like, you read the next one.
No.
So she wrote a really short story and the story we know today is nowhere near what her original stories were.
It's been edited a significant amount of times. All the times it has been edited.
Yeah. And so she wrote a little short bit, and everyone, like, even Lord Byron was like, this is dope. I'm impressed.
Ran out of the room screaming. That's what I read.
It's
that he
terrifying.
was like so scared that he like was like, ah, yeah, I'm Lord Byron, I'm scared. And then he ran away.
My precious, terrible heart. It is, but tragic. I don't know. I don't know how he sounds.
I don't know. I don't think anyone does. That was a very long time ago. It was before the recordings of things happened.
I imagine he sounded like a little doughboy who wrote poetry and objectified women and used his beautiful words to lure them into his bed, and then he left them by the side of the road.
Dream man.
No, he's the worst.
No, I'm kidding. That was
Yeah,
a
he's
joke.
bad. But he was impressed, and that's supposed to mean something.
He ran out screaming.
Yeah, and then I just love that Percy's like, yeah,
Oh,
this is
babe.
great. Yeah, babe.
You're so talented.
My sweet child bride. My child, not technically my bride because I'm still married.
He wasn't like so much older than her though. Like comparatively to the awfulness that I've heard, he was 20 and she was 16, which is not like the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Usually it's like a 45-year-old and his 13-year-old child
Cousin?
lover. Like it's disgusting. I don't know, but that's like at least like an okay-ish age difference.
Yeah,
like
and
at
I
least
mean,
emotionally, you're still kind of sort
Yeah.
of on the same page.
And they didn't like get married and stuff till she was 18. It's
Yeah.
still, you know what? We're not going to talk about this because we've already sang 2 Drake songs and we're not going to bring it up. But we're not going to, today's not allowed is what I have to say.
Okay.
2, yeah, he was super supportive of her even though he's technically married.
Yeah.
But another conspiracy theory is because during the time she wrote Frankenstein, Percy Shelley's wife, the real one, committed suicide. But rumor has it.
I was about to say, because that's not the rumor. That's like a thing.
Yeah, rumor
Okay, what's
has
the rumor?
it. The rumor is that her father had Harriet killed. Harriet's her name, right?
Yes.
Harriet
That's her name.
killed to save Mary's reputation.
Ah.
Yeah. I say it's not
I guess
super
his father's
accurate
wife, too.
because,
Is her name Harriet?
yeah, I put it in there.
I know. I just remember reading a different name. It was Claire or something.
No, that's the sister.
Okay, never mind.
Claire is Mary's sister,
Yes.
who is one of her stepsisters, and she also had an affair with Percy Shelley, but she was mostly in love with Lord Byron, and then she had a kid with him.
Cool.
But here's another fun fact.
Fun fact.
Here's a fun fact. So in a retelling of this situation in the birth of the book Frankenstein, when Mary Shelley is retelling it and talking about like who all was there, she purposely does not mention that Claire was there. She completely erases her from the history of that event.
That's
So
funny.
it's like, is it because it's possible that she had a child with your husband and you could not? It's
Aw.
sad.
Yeah.
It is sad. But you know what?
Probably.
She's like, no. She's like, listen, erased.
It's like the Hamilton song "Burn." You don't have to. Someone will understand. Someone will understand my references.
That's
Gabe.
fine.
You don't have to.
Someone is out there for you. Yeah.
I'll find love.
That Mary. Yeah, we're gonna hear a lot about the different things. Some stuff that was inspired by her, which I mean is most of the things. Everyone knows Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster Frankenstein.
Yes. I mean, I just, as I said with Poe, it's just like, it was the underlying thing that led to so many other things. The theme of like the torment and the look what I have created with the thing I didn't know you don't know how bad things can be until you do it. Like all AI is this.
It's Frankenstein.
It's Frankenstein. That's the base of it.
iRobot Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Jurassic Park Frankenstein.
Yeah.
We're bringing dinosaurs back to life.
It's you didn't know you could do this thing because of knowledge, and the morality that comes with this knowledge is what is good and what is bad, and when are you going to accidentally do the bad thing? Because humans are stupid, and we always do bad things.
Is it Jeff Goldblum? That's his name, right? Is
Yes,
that saying that
that's
right?
who it is. Yes.
Jeff Goldblum, when he's like,
The Jewish man.
when he says, I'm paraphrasing. Essentially, he says, you were too occupied in thinking if you could that you didn't stop to think if you should.
Yes.
Paraphrase. He said it, life finds a way. He
life
did
finds a way.
That his
That's what
thing.
it is.
Exactly. So this is that Frankenstein was like, I can make someone come back to life, and it wasn't like, should I though? But should people just
Like, yeah, I
stay
don't
dead?
know.
Maybe.
They should probably stay dead. And then Pet Sematary also came back with it.
Pet Cemetery, classic. Any coming back to life. And then they just keep digging a bigger hole because now he's like, here's a bride from my crazy monster Frankenstein.
Yeah.
You know, since it is like, he's like the father, the monster can definitely still be called Frankenstein. He's just Frankenstein Jr.
I'm just named after my dad.
Yeah. My dad doesn't
He
love
didn't
me.
want me none, but
That
be
was
more
it.
Mary Shelley.
Have sex on graves and have
Yeah.
ghost sex parties.
Yeah.
God, words to live by. I wanna be
You
Mary
aren't living.
Shelley.
If.
You're not dying and then bringing yourself back to life.
It's not what I was going to say.
Someone needs to
There you
reanimate
go.
this cold dead heart.
Yeah, no, there you go.
That's gonna be my new like Valentine's Day card. Can you reanimate my cold dead heart or wear it as a necklace?
When you die, I'll wear your heart as a necklace.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Why am I dying first?
I don't know.
Films. Yeah, films. Yeah, films. We watched some films. Now let's talk about those films. And all that spooky stuff. And all that spooky stuff.
Hi. So
We're back.
we watched some.
okay.
We watched a thing, and then we're also going to talk about Frankenstein because, well,
It's kind of like the big finale there, the big thing that is
yeah,
the thing.
Mary Shelley's the creator, not the monster. Everyone get together. We watched Penny Dreadful.
We did.
I've watched it previously.
I had not.
And it's good.
Well, that's not true. I watched the movie version that has nothing to do with any of that stuff, and it's about this girl getting trapped in a car and then this man tormenting her.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
No,
very scary.
that's not this.
It's very scary, but it is not this.
yeah. Yeah. So Penny Dreadful is a series. You can watch it on Netflix. It ran from 2014 and 2016, and it was one of those beautiful, odd series in which it has a defined end, and it stops there.
Cool.
It was like, we're done the thing, and it's over. We do not have to drag it out. Supernatural.
I mean, that's just because they just want to make more money, and they know they can.
Yeah.
Or if it's actually for the art, they stop because that's the purpose. You're trying to make something beautiful, not just make something to make money.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, Kat.
Everyone makes
get me.
mistakes. Everyone has mistakes.
Yeah.
Especially those people.
So Penny Dreadful, what is this about? You're asking
me.
me, listener, and here is the words. So Penny Dreadful follows explorer Sir Malcolm Murray, American gunslinger Ethan Chandler, scientist Victor Frankenstein, and medium Vanessa Ives unite to combat. They unite to combat supernatural threats in
You're great at this.
They unite to combat supernatural threats in the Victorian London.
You sounded straight like you were reading a weather report. There, and it was
And
fantastic.
straight from the north, we're going to have some werewolves, which is our lovely
excellent.
Ethan. Sorry, spoiler alerts for Catherine. And then,
We haven't gotten that far for me.
no, who's played by Josh Hartnett.
Oh,
Yay, he's
interesting.
back. And then the lovely actress for Vanessa Ives, she plays Mrs. Peregrine in the peculiar Mrs. Peregrine and her peculiar children or whatever.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
You're right.
She's
Cool.
dope. She's a really great actress.
And
She
was
deserves
scary in the second
all
that I saw.
she deserves all the awards. She does some really amazing things. Yeah, and so it's what I love about this show, and I'm gonna go on a slight tangent about it.
Go for it.
It's just it's all this gothic lore in one beautiful place. So you have vampires. So we
Yes.
just talked about it. It had the voice,
saw
the
those.
birth of those. It does have werewolves. It has witches. It has Frankenstein. It has Dorian Gray. It's essentially just
They're all just hanging out together.
if you're where is my English AP English from high school catalog of novels that were somewhat gothic in nature? Yes, let's make them into a movie.
Yeah,
or a
it's you
show.
thought you'd never need this. Here it is, all in one show.
Yeah, it's like any goth girl or boy, anyone who just is appreciative of this literature that was spooky. There is, I mean, not overt references to Edgar Allan Poe, but there's like an Edgar Allan Poe doll in a scene. So he's there. Specifically, so there's a lot of obvious things. So there's like, you have like the Western cowboy, which is a trope. You have Frankenstein and Dorian Gray, but you also have Sir Malcolm, who is, in my opinion, a reference to things like when, you know, you're hearing about his exploration in the Congo, and he's just like this white guy who's like, I'm gonna go find things. Two things come to my mind. One is Heart of Darkness, by Joseph Conrad. So it's like white men go to the Congo where they shouldn't be.
Bad stuff happens.
People die, important people, but you're going there, you're trying to get artifacts, you're trying to colonize, as the white people do. And then and then, you know, like, yeah, he's trudging and all this stuff, and then he comes back and there are problems because of that. Two, what I think about is Lovecraft. Like a lot of H.P. Lovecraft, which we're going to have a whole episode about next week.
We will.
Because we're doing weekly episodes, guys.
Listen to our words every day.
Every week. So a lot of his stories are essentially like these tales where an explorer goes to Africa, finds some weird artifacts or something with the ancient ones. And in this, there's a reference to like the hidden ones. Like there's just, it's just
like the stuff you don't understand, and then it's just like you're not respecting it or using it.
Yeah, and you're unlocking things that are supposed to be like not unlocked, you know?
Yeah.
Like in that your human brain cannot even fathom understanding. And that's like the whole thing is like we're now diving into the occult. We're getting weird. This show is like a weird gothic literature lovers like smut magazine in a show for like, that's what like every single thing was just like, yes. When I first watched it, and like first you're introduced to Victor Frankenstein, and I was like, oh yeah. And then it's like, here's Dorian Gray, and they're taking pictures instead of there being like a painting. And I was like, this is phenomenal. And then also Billie Piper's in there, and you just gotta love her as any super nerd for her.
Just being.
Yeah. Just because she's so great. She's got a nice little accent in there. She's a whole thing. She's wonderful.
Didn't expect you to say accent. I didn't expect you to say the other thing either. But like I just had genuinely no idea where you were
wherever
going.
I was gonna go. You were gonna be there with me.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering why it's called this, penny dreadful is an old term used during the 19th century to refer to cheap popular serial literature. So like today's pulp fiction. Essentially, it could be interchangeable with the term.
Pennies are low in value.
Yes. So like penny blood, penny awful, or penny horrible. It generally just means a story published in weekly parts with the cost of one old penny. The main plot of these stories were typically sensational, focusing on the adventures of detectives, criminals, or supernatural entities.
Cool.
Which is this whole thing. It was like
the whole thing. That's the whole thing they do.
Yeah, it was like cool, just like magazines that you'd pick up and you'd catch up on what your favorite detective was doing. What later became like audio dramas. So like you would follow like your favorite gunslinger. You would follow like whatever spooky, like the Green Door. You know, like every day or week you were tuning in to catch in and like dive into the story of your favorite character. And that's what Penny Dreadfuls were. But they were mostly focused on the macabre, like the spooky, the spoopy, thinking of like, you know, stuff that would have been spurred by like Jack the Ripper in that time period. So it's super cool. Speaking specifically about Frankenstein in this is that, so one, there's a first Frankenstein who's Proteus. So you're thinking about like Proteus.
He was so nice.
He was such a sweet man. And his whole thing with the sea.
Spoilers, but so sad.
Just makes me think of Moby Dick. I was like expecting him to be like, call me Ishmael, and I don't want to have lost it, but that would be too on the nose. But then
Let's bring back everything from AP English. Let's go.
Yeah, go. My teacher would be so proud of me. But then you have like the OG Frankenstein's monster, Frankenstein. In the book, he doesn't have a name, but in the show, his name is either Caliban or John Clare. And Caliban refers to a character from Shakespeare's play The Tempest, who, just like the monster, is described both as monstrous. The quote is, "a freckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with a human shape." And he's sensitive with a legitimate grievance against his master, Prospero, which in this case would be Victor. John Clare was a real English poet during the Romantic movement, the same in which these lovely people existed. So that's like Shelley, Lord Byron, all the people having ghost sex. Clare had a tragic life, and although his mostly rural-themed poems were generally well received, their sales were not sufficient to earn him a living to support his wife and children, just like our poor Edgar Allan Poe. And especially after he started suffering from mental illness and alcoholism, which just happens to kind of come with the label of writer at this time. So he was institutionalized due to his florid delusions, which included the beliefs that he was really Shakespeare or Lord Byron in disguise. That he had multiple wives and that he was a celebrated boxer. So thinking about putting that onto...
So he just had like some...
stuff going on. He had a lot of stuff going on. He was definitely deteriorating. And so taking this name of this tragic writer who existed during the same time and fancied himself Lord Byron and Shakespeare, and then putting it onto this monster, that's phenomenal. This show is amazing. Binge it. All of you go binge it.
As someone who's only watched 2 episodes, I was so attached to Proteus, and my heart.
Yeah. It's that, and that's the whole show. The whole show does really, like, there's a lot of complex things in the background, and again, that you're studying the occult, you're trying to find out, but just as like a literature nerd, you're just getting really excited about everything that's happening, and then also just as a viewer, you're getting emotionally attached to all these characters, and even though they're all kind of flawed, you're still like, I get it, because you're seeing like the good part of them too, like even Dorian, as weird and boy man he is, you're still like, yeah, I get you.
Yeah, the whole thing going on. All right.
Yeah.
I'm here to figure out more about it.
Yeah, and I think it does really good for the time period and for the art style, and it's scary. It is scary.
Yeah.
Like that whole possession scene, that was intense.
Yeah, half the time there I was like, is she just acting? Is she mad at the old man with beard? What is happening?
Bring me with you, father, to the Congo.
Bad things won't happen.
I'm dying.
Why'd you leave me?
I have no more clean trousers, father.
Did you name the mountain?
You didn't name the mountain.
He's so mean.
So sad.
How would you not? Your son dies on a trip that you take him with you to go to, and you don't even name a mountain after him? Did he name the mountain something else, or did you just not get to name a mountain? He named the mountain something else.
Yeah.
I hate this man.
Yeah.
Your son is dead.
Yeah.
Rude.
He's not great. So
you deserve to cry in front of everyone.
So we also wanted to talk about Frankenstein, since that's like her, that's her whole thing. And last week we talked about our favorites when it came to Edgar. With this, it's like she has made other stuff, but let's be real. This is what she saw, she triumphed, which is Frankenstein. And the story goes that Frankenstein follows Victor Frankenstein's triumph as he reanimates a dead body, and then his guilt for creating such a thing. When the Frankenstein monster realizes how he came to be and is rejected by mankind, he seeks revenge on his creator's family to avenge his own sorrow. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Oh, the whole
That's
episode.
what happened. But there's, it's more. Frankenstein is more. Let's dive in, Kat. Let's take a deep dive.
I mean, there's a lot of thoughts behind Frankenstein. There's all the reasons you think that maybe she wrote it the way that she did, that's outside of a dream, or all the outside influencing factors. There's the fact that it's very unique in its like scariness, like, and the way it's presented.
Yeah.
In the way that, I mean, I think it was like something Kohler or something. Aaron Kohler, I think, was the lady's name. I don't know who she was, but she said the following.
Yeah.
Is that the only reason that it was able to be like as unique and like haunting and like sorrow filled as it was is because, one, Mary Shelley was a mother who had lost children.
Yeah.
And like that is like the worst thing that can happen. And like it just gives you this new profound outlook on life. And there was like a big thing where it's like you want the people in your life to still be with you. You want to reanimate them, but that's a bad idea. Because when that happens, they're not the same. Or they're come back as something worse. Or the thing you thought you were going to get just isn't that thing.
Yeah. Full Metal Alchemist.
Whoa. I thought I was going to do a good job, but I did a bad job.
Yeah. It's the laws of equivalent exchange.
Yeah. And you can't exchange a dead thing for a live thing.
What is
That's not how it works.
scientific components that make a person in their soul? How do you make a soul, Kat? It's intangible. Where is it? That's the whole thing. And so what I like about that explanation.
Proteus had a soul.
Yeah. What I like about the explanation that she is a mother.
He wanted 10 friends. Sorry.
She's in this.
I was really upset. I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, it's super heartbreaking. And then I turned it off and made you do this. What I like about it is that, like, okay, one, it's super fanciful that they have their ghost sex party. And then she makes this based off of a dream and from overhearing some weird experiments that Darwin was up to, which had to do with some kind of pasta.
Pasta?
Yeah. I won't get into it. I'll talk about it later because I can't remember. It's like vermicelli.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right?
Probably.
That was
like
something. Whatever. So, like, yeah, that sounds wonderful because that's lore in itself, just like what Mary Shelley has become, because you have stories like the calcified husband's heart, her having sex on her mother's grave, her like being, you know, this like amazing, just like haphazard teenage girl that just fell into writing this amazing story. But then you're like, okay, during that time, like, she was 18 is old. 18 is like, she's already, you know, had these struggles. She's already experiencing a lot of heartbreak. Her father has disowned her. Like, she has like been unloved. She's the Cinderella of her family.
Yeah, she's experienced hurt and struggle, and like she knows what it's like to be rejected.
Yeah.
And I mean, she had a very close relationship with the like ghost of her mother, but like her mother died like a month after she was born. So there's just like a natural feeling of like abandonment and like not ever feeling accepted, especially when your father replaces your mom with this mean lady who doesn't like you.
It's like, I'll send all you brats off to Switzerland. And you're like,
rude.
I'm gonna parent trap my dad and my dead mom. No. So yeah.
What?
So what because I think there's truth to that, and there's an honesty to that I feel like couldn't have existed then. Like this lore of
really real.
A dream came to me and I saw this, and somehow I understand science and the intimacy of a father like, you know, abandoning their child, and you have to make it for yourself, and that society doesn't accept you, etc., is like, it's just a whole profound thing in itself. But I don't think it was going to be accepted in time. She couldn't even put her name on that first book. No. So she couldn't say, this is because I've lost children. She had to say a dream happened, you know? So like, I think there's more truth to that.
Dream, but she has a lot of like horrible stuff that's happened to her that would make those dreams happen.
Yeah.
She had a really unique experience that made her write a really unique and profound and beautiful thing.
Yeah, and spooky.
Spooky.
And the reason why it's scary and it's why we do this show is that like you have to think about why it's scary. Like why does it make you feel that way? What innate like instinctual thing is happening in your brain that's making you go like, "Oh no." More than just like
for me.
Yeah, why?
He didn't ask to be in existence anymore. He died.
Yeah.
He died and he was gone. And then some asshole was like, "Oh, you were resting. That's so nice. Let me reanimate you and then abandon you when you don't know how to like do anything because you're a dead person and you exist now."
And I just shun you because you're just an
I
experiment.
didn't want to exist and now I exist and I'm here.
Yeah.
And that's upsetting.
This is just
I feel bad for Frankenstein. It's not his fault.
Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein.
Whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
The
Frankenstein
monster
Jr.
person.
Yes. Well, like this makes me think of Ghost in the Shell.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is a person? Are they their memories? You know, are they the fact that they look like us? Like, what is it? What makes a person?
And we're going to have to deal with this so soon.
With AI?
Yes.
Yeah. The
Because
uprising.
robots are going to be people. And then it's going to be the way that everyone's expecting it to. And I'm going to go into a conspiracy theory. I don't care. But we're going to treat robots like they're not people. But then they're going to gain sentience. And they're going to be people. And it's going to be this whole thing.
Yeah. I think all robots should look like Baymax.
They just need to not make sentient robots.
Yes.
Because they're just making something that's going to hurt and be sad. And we're not going to treat right like we do people.
Yeah.
Continue.
And that's this whole story, you know? So she talks about the knowledge for good and evil, the invasion of technology into modern life, which back then was like not even technology, you know? Like,
but like having that knowledge.
Like electricity was new and
like,
cool.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Like electricity was the hip new thing. And that's why you have the big bolt of lightning and it's like, Igor, pull the lever. You know, and so it's, yeah. And then you also have the treatment of the poor or uneducated. Mm-hmm. And when you're watching Penny Dreadful, like Proteus is like a simple man and everyone treats him that way. Like they're gonna take care of him. Whereas when you have John Clare, everyone treats him crap and he's really smart. And then she also, talks about the restorative powers of nature in the face of unnatural events. So again, it's life always finds a way.
Yeah, it's like honestly, she predicted she just put the baseline down for everything, and then also predicted a lot of crap. Where she was like, "Hey guys, just because you can do a thing doesn't mean you should."
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example. And then they made atomic bombs and all this other crazy stuff. Where it was like, you should just listen to Mary Shelley and read Frankenstein. And been like, hey, no, maybe we shouldn't do that because clearly it's not a good idea. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Science is scary, but it's good. You need to do science. But like what I'm saying is just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
It makes me mad. People never listen. Gabe.
They're going to learn.
They don't.
I listen.
Feelings. Yeah, feelings. Yeah, I said feelings. Let's talk about feelings.
Okay.
And all that spooky stuff. I love spooky stuff.
All right. So if you like it, it's I Love You, Ghost Mom.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't like it, it's new novel Who Dis, as that's her reaction to Claremont. Because who even was her? I don't know her. She pulled a Mariah Carey. She was like, who's that?
I don't know her.
Super diva. Like, that's your literal sister. Okay, one.
I forgot, you know.
One, she was also there. Two, Lord Byron. So, just, I guess, Mary Shelley, how you feel?
I love my ghost mom.
Love my ghost mom.
Also, I'm one of Proteus's 10 friends. I just want to say it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love
she's
my
just
ghost
great.
mom.
I mean, the fact... Is there someone who feels the other way?
Who wouldn't like her?
Yeah. They better come talk to me.
Claremont, probably.
No, but they
Her
need to come talk to
stepmom.
me because, like, nah.
Her father.
She made
Harriet.
the groundwork for, like, all the things.
Yeah.
And 1, she's a boss lady.
She is
2,
a boss lady.
She, like, is evidence that struggle is strength. 3,
Yeah.
she's great.
That about sums it up.
They needed to listen to her more.
Yeah,
She wrote the one thing.
And she wrote real good.
And she wrote the good thing.
She wrote it
I'm mad
real
about
good. Yeah, I mean, like,
She didn't get
Vampire,
to put her name
super
on it.
cool.
Rude.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, if you talk, I'm mad.
I mean, I talked a lot, but I agree, to say the least.
Thanks.
I love my ghost mom, and I wish Mary Shelley was my ghost mom. She's my ghost mom. She could be our spirit animal.
Yeah.
And that, like, I've always had this kind of, like, I wasn't a big fan of Emily Dickinson.
Me neither.
And even
Honestly,
Sylvia Plath.
Most of the female writers just, like,
Yeah, I mean, I
from the
think it's kind
past
of like
ever.
a cultural thing too. You know, it's just
Yeah.
like they were fighting against it, and it appears as if they lost when you really think about it, especially with Emily Dickinson. It's like she just lived in an attic for her whole life alone in darkness. But then you have like Mary Shelley, who really tried, and she lived like a free life despite a lot of the things that were going on. And she had tragedy like everyone did then, but she used it, you know, like you were saying. So, yeah.
The struggle's strength. It's not the end.
Yeah. It made her, and I mean, she didn't have an easy life, and she died of brain cancer.
Jesus.
You know, and like,
She lived at 54, which is like super old for them.
yeah,
So,
decent. Yeah.
Like
And she
lived
had
for a
one
time.
child. She did have a child, Percy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Aw.
yeah, so
Named after Dad.
yeah, it's Percy Jr., Frankenstein Jr. Yeah, and I think so. What I really like about doing this classic horror series is that we're getting to see like these first like glimpses into what eventually is what we love now. You know,
Yeah.
like
it
we're
really
finding
is.
these threads, and we're going all the way back. Like with Edgar Allan Poe, it's like, oh, that's where that came from. Like that's so fun, you know. And to
Yeah.
see like how it's like spread out almost like a disease, like a tree, you know, like all the roots. Like she put the seed in there, and now we have all of these different wells to jump into. There's like several different metaphors in that.
Yeah, he's
But
a lot of things.
but yeah, I'm just saying, like, without her, there's a lot of things we would not have. Like, you know, we would not have. We probably would, but it would be different. Jurassic Park would have been different. Like, Ghost in the Shell would have been different.
Yeah. And it's like this idea that's just been repeated and repeated throughout history. That, like, in real life and in literary life, like,
Yeah.
it's everywhere. And the fact that this is in 1818, before a lot of this stuff was even, like, starting to, like, really happen.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, knowledge and power and all that. She wrote all of it.
Yeah.
She wrote the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then all of it just kept happening. They were like, lady said it, so nah.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Story of our lives. Well, what about for Penny Dreadful and Frankenstein?
Yeah, I love my ghost mom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've only seen like 2 episodes of Penny Dreadful,
But
I
so
can't
far.
say so much. But I can. Well, the first episode I watched yesterday, and I taken my like go to bed medicine, so I was loopy as anything. And the second time we watched it, about the same. But the second episode, I was like, oh my god, this is the best.
Yeah.
And now I get it.
Yeah.
Where before I was like, I don't understand. There's a lot happening, and I don't know what any of it is.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, the second time I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And then Frankenstein is just like, from all of the things that I have heard in reference to, as well as I've seen all the movie versions
Uh-huh.
and all like the things that have followed that just like tie into the concepts that were,
Mm-hmm.
you know, actively brought upon during Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That it's just like a really tragic story. He just deserved love, or to just not exist at all. They shouldn't have done it.
Yeah. Well,
shouldn't have
no
done
one ever asked to be born, but then
Yeah.
he had that twice.
Yes.
which is just
Like,
kinda,
I'm already
it's
mad
already
about the
rude.
first time.
It's like, thanks, Mom.
Why am I here? Can't help it. Sorry. So you got to deal with me.
Yeah.
Like, and then,
I
like,
didn't ask to
that's
be
everybody.
here.
And then you had to do it twice. That's really rude.
Yeah. It is super rude, Frankenstein. And it all boils down to, like, don't play God. And that's what scientists do.
Yeah.
And it's not going to stop. And, there's only going to be newer Frankensteinian lore happening now. Like, think about a cool Frankenstein-ass book we can have now.
I mean, the biggest thing is it's like people aren't satisfied.
Yeah.
It's just human nature, I guess. And this just plays upon that, in that, like, there is never enough that will be enough until you figure your own stuff out. You can't just, like, keep adding and adding and adding. You can't have more life. That's not how it works. You have the life you had. You live it. Cool.
Yeah.
When you think you can have more, you turn people into monster people. It's too much.
You did wrong.
You need to be satisfied with what you got. Be who you are.
Yeah.
And stop trying to do extra and be crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's rude.
It is rude. She also wrote a book called The Last Man or Last Man, which is about a man who survived a plague. And he's the last one, which made me think
like
of
her surviving all the other people.
Yeah. Well, it made me think of the show Last Man on Earth, and then I Googled it, and Last Man on Earth gives credit to all these other people, but now I'm like, I want to read this book, but mostly because I think it's going to be awesome, but also because I feel like he's not giving her credit. It's literally called The Last Man on Earth, and hers is called The Last Man, and the premise is that he's the last man after a plague. I got angry because she's being not heard again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to investigate, and then maybe I'll start a Twitter war.
Yeah, honestly.
Who knows? Stay tuned. So, yeah, remember to, if you like us, let us know. Tell us on the iTunes or on Twitter, or just let us know. And if there's any cool stories about Mary Shelley, or cool stories about any of the classic horror people, next week, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Which I'm super excited. And then later we have Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi to talk more about the cinematic worlds, and just like Dracula and Frankenstein and all those good old spookies that we had before. So yeah, stay tuned for the spooky month, and then we have a great thing in store for you for the day of the spookiness.
It's gonna be
Eve.
really good. And I know we always are like, spoilers. I'm not gonna spoil it.
Yeah.
Spoil it. But it's really good.
Yeah. It's not gonna
And
get
y'all are
spoiled.
Gonna love it.
We won't spoil it for you.
And I hope you feel like I do, and that I didn't know how it was going to be doing all the classic stuff, and I've been pleasantly surprised the entire time.
Yeah.
So I hope y'all are pleasantly surprised by how great these episodes are, because I was literally like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
And
well,
then
I
we're
knew
talking about it, and I'm
pumped.
like, oh my God, I have so much to say.
Yeah. I was super pumped about Mary Shelley. Yeah, because we've covered
learning.
some, people, and none of them ladies. So we got to represent with our nice favorite goth babe, Mary Shelley, Queen of the Spooks. Yeah, she's Mary Shelley, not Mary Shelley's monster. Get it right. Yeah, so...
She was like 6 names, and they're all great.
Don't get married because they'll get your kids, and then you have to reanimate them, and then they'll kill the dad.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It seems like a whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it. Okay, bye.
Bye.